It is time for language. You are going to need out, I would do your poetry packet and also your poetry notebook, please. Now, I say poetry packet because you're not going to be probably writing anything in your poetry packet, but you're going to need it to study tonight for your test tomorrow on poetry. It's up to you right now if you want to take your notes in your poetry packet or if you want to put them in your language notebook. Your choice, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, I have the test. So what we go over today, you need to write down in your notes, okay? If you know what we go over today, you will have no problem with the test. And the things that you're a little confused on today, that's going to be the things that you know you need to study then.
You mean language notebook, right?
Yeah, what I say, language?
No. Poetry notebook.
Poetry notebook?
No.
No. All right, one more second. I got some people still getting some stuff out. All right, here we go. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right, you guys are going to have some matching and some poetry words. What does it mean? What would be a word? An expression of ideas or feelings in words, usually having a form of rhyme or rhythm, or both. What is that called? An expression of ideas. And if, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at me like, what is she talking about right now? Then that's something you should write down for your notes because you don't know what this word means, okay? An expression of ideas or feelings in words, usually having a form, rhythm, or rhyme. Mason?
Poetry.
Yeah, poetry. That's the definition of poetry. If you struggled with that definition, write down the word poetry. You need to study that vocab word tonight. All right. What is it called? A two-lined pair of rhymed lines. Two-lined pair of rhymed lines. I don't have many volunteers, guys. Max?
Stanza.
No, but good job, and it was a good word to use, stanza, but it's not stanza.
Couplet.
Yes, couplet, very nice, couplet. So a couplet is a two-lined pair of rhymed lines. You're not going to have time to probably write down the definitions, but write down the vocab words that I'm giving you that you're having troubles with. Couplet, couplet. The next one. Two or more lines that end with rhyming words. Two or more lines that end with rhyming words. Mason?
Stanza.
Nope. Not stanza. You can, of course, use your poetry packet. Justice?
Verse.
Not verse. It is going to be a rhyme scheme. A rhyme scheme. Write it down. A rhyme scheme. Give me your hands down. That's the answer.
Oh.
Rhyme scheme. When you have two or more lines that end with rhyming words. What is a single line of words in a poem called? This one's like super obvious. A single line of words in a poem. Ben?
Line.
Yeah, a line. That's it. Just a line.
A line.
A line is a single line of words in a poem. A fixed number of lines, a verse forming a unit in poem. Max? I think you should. A fixed number of lines, a verse forming a unit in poem is a stanza. Good.
What did you say?
Stanza. A fixed number of lines, a verse forming a unit in poem. And ladies and gentlemen, remember the video will be on Schoology, so you can always rewind and watch it again if you're curious on some definitions. This form of poetry is created by having the first letter of each line spell a special word. What is that called? What kind of poem is that? Maverick? Acrostic. Very nice. A poem with 14 lines and a specific rhyming and rhythm pattern. Charlie?
The I am poem.
Not the I am poem. Good thinking though.
Acrostic poem.
Not the acrostic. Mimi?
It's called the you know what? I know.
Justice?
The triplet poem.
Not the triplet. I'm looking for sonnet here. A sonnet is a poem with 14 lines and a specific rhyming and rhythm pattern to it. Sonnet.
How do you spell it?
S-O-N-N-E-T. What are words that end with the same sounds?
Wait.
Malia?
Rhyme.
Yeah, rhyming words. What is a sound device in which sounds, words, or phrases are repeated to emphasize a point? So you repeat the same sounds possibly to kind of be dramatic in a poem. Again, your definition of this is kind of in the actual word. Justice?
Rhythm.
Not rhythm. Charlie?
Alliteration.
Not alliteration. Aiden?
Can you repeat that? Wait. I know something.
Repetition. A sound device in which sounds, words, or phrases are repeated. The word repeated then is repetition.
Mrs. Bush. So is this all in the
The author's use of description and words to create pictures in your mind. Charlie?
Voice.
Not voice. You saw that you had it too. Mason? No.
Wait, what?
Yes, Raina.
Visualization.
Super close to visualization. Mimi?
Imagination.
No. Sophia? Imagery. Yes. When the author can help you create a picture in your mind as you're reading something. Imagery. It's using your imagination. Yes. Very nice.
This is like Jeopardy.
I'm glad you guys are so into it. It's good. All right. The next one. So that's going to finish up that matching section. I'm going to read you a poem. Are you ready?
Yes.
Actually, I'm not gonna read you this exact poem. I'm gonna read you this poem has like 2 paragraphs. What is that going to mean then? How many stanza it has? If it has like 2 paragraphs, how many stanzas? Was stanza one of your words? I want to see on the front.
Yeah.
It's just so many pages here.
I know, right? How many questions is the test? How many questions is it?
Okay, so the definition of a stanza was a fixed number of lines of verse forming a unit in a poem. And it looks like a paragraph. So if a poem looks like it has 2 paragraphs, how many stanzas is that? Good. Ladies and gentlemen, take a breath and control ourselves, please, because I'm not going to speak over you. All right, the next one. Make sure you know the definition of free verse. What would it be called if I'm talking about clouds in the sky and I'm describing these clouds and I'm giving them like human characteristics? And you guys have learned this with Mrs. Long in figurative language. What's that called if I'm giving clouds or trees or animals? I'm talking about them as if they were like human and had feelings like a human and just human characteristics. What is that called, Ben? Personification. Very nice. Good.
Wait, what was the definition?
Having human characteristics. I'm going to read you a poem. And this is something that definitely you might want to go back on Schoology and listen to the reading of this poem because I'm only going to read through it once. But I want to make sure you have an understanding of this poem. And so I'm going to give you guys tonight to think about this poem. If you want to discuss it with your friends, discuss it with mom and dad, and really have a good understanding of this poem, okay? Two little clouds one April day went sailing across the sky. They went so fast they bumped their heads, and both began to cry. The big round sun came out and said, "Oh, never mind, my dears. I'll send all my sunbeams down to dry your fallen tears." Okay? Make sure you have an understanding. So for example, some questions about that poem might be, the cloud's tears are really what? Is that poem rhyming or free verse? What helps dry the tears? What causes it to rain in that poem? Okay? So definitely watch the video and rewind, ladies and gentlemen, because those are questions that you could answer ahead of time and be ready to go for the test. What is a narrative poem? What is a narrative poem? What does that mean? Bradley, a narrative poem?
It's told, I don't know.
Mimi? A poet? No, a poet is somebody who writes a poem. A narrative poem is a type of poem. And ladies and gentlemen, it tells a story. Okay, just like a narrative, right, that you guys did in the beginning of the year, it tells a story. Okay? Make sure you know what a haiku poem is, and that you could be able to identify a haiku poem. So you need to know what that means. Haiku poem. Does anybody remember? It has a certain number of syllables.
Oh, yeah.
What is that number of syllables, Brooklyn?
575.
575. So make sure you would be able to recognize a haiku poem with 3 lines, with 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and then 5. Okay? Make sure you know what onomatopoeia is and be able to identify. What does that mean, onomatopoeia, Aiden?
An onomatopoeia is a word that this is, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what it is.
Give me an example.
Thump.
Thump. Good. It's an onomatopoeia, Malia.
It's like when you blow a bubble, how those pop, it actually sounds
So
like
when you blow a bubble and it pops, so it's a sound word. It's a word that's going to make a sound. Okay? Make sure you are able to identify some onomatopoeias in poems. A limerick poem. What is a limerick
This is
poem?
my favorite.
Bradley?
A limerick poem has, is like there's 2 rhyming sentences, and then there's 2 other ones that don't rhyme with the top 2, but rhyme with each other, and then the last one rhymes with the top 2.
So it's got some rhyming in it. Okay, who can give me some more details about limerick? Malia?
It has a rhyme pattern that is A, B, B, A.
So it has a certain number of rhyming patterns. Very good. Make sure you are able to identify a limerick poem. So that means you need to know the characteristics of a limerick poem. I'm going to read you one more poem, and then we're going to be finished up here. This poem I'm going to read to you also is going to be a poem that's going to be on your test. And make sure, again, you have an understanding and comprehension of this poem. Okay? Possibly the main idea of it. There was an old man of Peru who dreamt he was eating his shoe. He woke in the night, he felt a great fight, and found it was perfectly true. One more time. There was an old man of Peru who dreamt he was eating his shoe. He woke in the night, he felt a great fright, and found it was perfectly true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will cover your language test. Now, some of the things that I went over, I did not give you answers. Some of the information I gave you were things that you need to make sure you study for and be ready to go for tomorrow. Okay? So you guys have some work to do to be ready. You do have on vocabulary one section of complex sentences to do, and that is all you guys have for language then. Okay? Any questions?
Oh, was that a limerick poem you just said?
I can't say. All right, guys, you guys got some work time.